All right, so we're going to look at expressions and namely simplifying expressions. So we're actually going to start looking at variables. So we're going to include variables into our mathematics. And a lot of you guys should be familiar with these. Variables are just a letter. It's just a placeholder for a number that we don't know what the value is. Normally when we go over these, I start with a whole spiel on how you've been actually using these since you were in kindergarten, but we don't have the time for that. So, expressions. When we are dealing with expressions, we need to do what's called simplify expressions, or you may hear me say combine all like terms. So, when we are dealing with expressions or simplifying expressions, you need to make sure you combine all like terms. And what a like term is terms with same variable. And you'll see an example of this. Okay. A key thing to remember is the sign / operation in front of the term goes with the term. And you'll see what I mean by that when we do an example. And how you know you're done, how you know you've combined all like terms or you have simplified the expression, is you are finished when you have no like terms or parentheses. And you'll see that in our next video that we do, which will be dealing with the parentheses part of it. So this is all we need to do is combine like terms. The sign or operation in front goes with them, and you know you're done when you have no more like terms or parentheses. So we're going to do 5 examples. So if I have 9x minus 2 plus 7 minus x, what I need to do is I need to simplify this expression. So I need to combine anything with the same variable. I recommend you to use different colors for these. So if we notice here, we have an x and we have something without x's. So I'm going to use the color red, and I'm going to box in anything with an x in red. So see how this 9x has a red, or see how this 9 has an x with it? I'm going to box it in red. We also have an x over here. Well, one thing we need to make sure we include is the sign or operation in front goes with it. So since there's a minus sign in front of this x, we're going to include that. So I'm going to combine these like terms. So I have 9x minus x. Well, there's actually a 1 hidden in front of this x. So really what this is saying is I have 9x minus 1x. Or a way to think about it, I have 9 apples. I need to take away 1 apple. So that means I have 8 apples, or we're using x in this place, in case, sorry. So 9x minus x is actually going to give us 8x. And now we also have this minus 2. Remember, the sign goes with the 2. And we also have this positive 7. So we need to combine these. So we have negative 2 plus 7. Well, what is negative 2 plus 7? We just did integers. Negative 2 plus 7 would give me a positive 5. So we would do plus 5. So if I started with 9x minus 2 plus 7 minus x, and I asked you to simplify this expression, our final answer would be 8x plus 5. That's it. You're just combining like terms. You're taking things that are the same, and you're combining them together. Let's look at another example. Z squared plus 5z minus 3z squared plus z. This one's a little tricky because we're dealing with the same variable and some have exponents. When you see the exponents, that means they're not the same as ones without the exponent. The different values of exponents means it's a different variable. Think of it as a different term. So let's do our little color coding thing that I did. We want to simplify this expression. If I have a z squared, I'm going to box this in. I also have another z squared here. There's a 3 in front of it, and also there's a minus, so I need to include the minus with that. So we have 1z squared minus 3z squared. Well, what is 1 minus 3? 1 minus 3, if we remember from exponents, or from integers, 1 minus 3 is a negative 2z squared. And then we have a plus 5z, and we have a plus 1z. So we have a positive 5 plus 1. 5 plus 1 is 6. So we have plus 6z. Again, these are not like terms. This is to the power of 2. This is to the power of 1. They are not combined like terms. We cannot combine them. So we have a final answer of negative 2z squared plus 6z. That's it. All right, let's do 3 more examples. So we have 2r squared plus 7r minus r squared minus 9. We want to simplify this expression or combine like terms. Well, if we look, we have an r squared and an r squared. So let's combine these. I'm going to try this without the colors. If you like the colors, use them. So we have 2r squared minus r squared. Well, what's 2 minus 1? 2 minus 1 is 1. So we have 1r squared, or just r squared. 7r. Is there any other ones with an r in it? Well, we already used these ones. These already have r squared. I don't see any other r, so I'm just going to rewrite plus 7r. And then this 9 has no friends to combine with, so we're just going to rewrite it. So this expression, 2r squared plus 7r minus r squared minus 9, can be simplified to r squared plus 7r minus 9. That's it. Sometimes there are terms to combine with, sometimes there aren't. This is one of those examples where there aren't a lot. Let's do another example. 7 plus 4x minus 5 plus x plus 2y. I always recommend you to start with the variables and start with the earliest one in the alphabet. So x comes before y in our alphabet. So if we notice, we have a 4x and we have a plus 1x. There are no other x's. So we have 4 plus 1, which is 5x. Remember I said variables first, beginning of the alphabet. Does this 2y have anything to combine with? No, it doesn't. So it's just plus 2y. And then we have our 7 and our 5. And if we remember this minus sign goes with the 5. So we have 7 plus negative 5. What's 7 plus negative 5? 7 plus negative 5 would be 2. And we're done. Even though these both have variables, they are different variables. We don't combine xylophones with yaks. Different variables, they're not like terms. So this is our final answer. Let's do one more example. Let's go with 3y minus 5x plus 6y plus 12x minus 13 minus 8y plus 6. So this has a lot to it. We have some variables. We have multiple different variables. So let's start with the earliest variable in the alphabet. which in this case would be x. So if we look, we have a 5x, but if we remember, it's a minus 5x. And we have a 12x, it's the positive 12x. There are no other x's in here. So negative 5 plus 12, negative 5 plus 12 would give you 7x. These are gone. Sometimes you can cross them out if that helps you out. Now let's look anything with a y. We have a 3y, we have a positive 6y, and we have a negative 8y. So let's just do some math. 3 plus 6. 3 plus 6 is 9. 9 minus 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. So we have a plus 1y or plus y. So we can cross these out. These go bye-bye. And what else do we have? We have this 13, but it's a minus 13. And we have this positive 6. So negative 13 plus 6, negative 13 plus 6 would give you, brain fart, sorry, would give you a negative 7. X's don't combine with Y's, X's don't combine with these, Y's don't combine with those. We are done. That's how you simplify expressions. You just go through, you find ones that are the same, you put them together. Remember, the operation in front goes with that number. That's one thing a lot of people forget. The operation in front goes with that number.